Beat Trip, and check this out. I'm going to show you some quick, easy steps to rock the party, some things that might make you a little bit better. This section right here is going to be dedicated to the art of selecting, or digging, if you will. Finding the right records that you need to rock that party. This all boils down to what the party entails, what you're actually DJing. The very first thing that I do is pay attention to what the promoter wants me to spin. What do they want me to do? What do I want to do? What's the thing that I want to convey to the crowd? Is the crowd a sitting down thing? Is it something where it's an art opening, if you will, and I'm playing music as a background guy? If so, I want to play the best possible music I can play for a background. Is it something where there's going to be thousands of people and they're all wanting to dance to what I'm doing? If that's the case, then I'm going to cater it towards something where it's more dancing. I like to grab music from all styles, so funk, hip-hop, rock, dancehall, whatever. If it's St. Patrick's Day, maybe pull out a wacky St. Patrick's record that you bought at some thrift store and incorporate that into the set. Who knows? Let's see what we got here. Beatles. Probably wouldn't work at a rave. REO Speedwagon probably wouldn't work anywhere. Don't even know why that's in there. Okay, here we go. Bjork. Where would Bjork work? I don't know. Let's see. Maybe if you're spinning at a coffee shop or you're spinning at some down-tempo club or something, you wouldn't necessarily want to bring Bjork to a b-boy battle. Okay. Too short. You'd want to play this in San Francisco. You want to bring out the songs that you think are going to work the best for the crowd that you're trying to rock. And also, you can't bring all your records, so you want to bring just enough that it's something that's going to totally work with the crowd, also something that's going to totally satisfy you, something that's going to satisfy the weird guy who came with the person who doesn't want to be there. You got to think of everybody if you're thinking in the big picture. Beats per minute. Totally key. Check it out. To me, tempo is key in selection, and when I relate to tempo, I use it in BPMs, which is a DJ term for beats per minute. For instance, if this song, Private Parts, is 110 beats per minute. I like to label them so when it's dark in a club I can see what I'm doing. This song, Rubber and Glue, is 90 beats per minute. This is slower, this is faster. And you're counting it every time it hits. And you're not counting measures, you're just counting times it hits. Beats per minute. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and it goes on and on and on, and you count that however many beats times it hits in 1 minute determines your beats per minute. Now, obviously if you look around you see all my records, I've pretty much BPM'd a lot of my records, and that's taken years. So there are certain things that have helped me out. For instance, this little device right here helps me out as far as tempo goes, where I can go like this, and you'll see it's 89 or 90. And the thing is, for me, tempos can fluctuate 1 or 2. As long as I get an idea of what that song is, it helps me in mixing, which I'll get to in a minute, why BPM is so key. I used to sit there with a stopwatch at first and go 1, 2, 3, 4, and when it got to 30 seconds I would just stop and I would double what I just counted. And that took years and years and years to do that. I also like to start my crates going from the slowest all the way to the fastest. That way, if I want to start the club out slow or wherever I'm at where people are just kind of, this is good, this is a good thing, and I want to slowly get them up to a frenzy where like, oh my god, I gotta get out there and dance. It's something where I'm taking the beats per minute and going all the way up to the fastest. Then sometimes I'll take them there and I'll drop them again. So that's the key to program the party, to have leaps and bounds as opposed to just having a crate with all your music just shoved in it and you're frantically looking for, oh my god, what song would go next or whatever. It's foresight into how to rock the party. So selection is key. Mixing. If you want to be a good DJ, you're going to have to learn how to mix. Mixing is basically taking 2 records of the same tempo and mixing them together, as opposed to just playing records. You're actually mixing records. These right here on a turntable, it's the pitch adjustment. So on green, this record is 97 beats per minute, but if you bounce it up a couple, it becomes 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, and so on. So anyway, this is 97. this is 95. So if I bump it up 95, 96, 97, 98, somewhere in that area, I'm around 3 on here, and I'm staying at 97 on this. These two should lock up in the same tempo.
Come on, come on.
So that's basically record 1. Here's record 2.
Hey, don't take no shit. Insist on respect the sister. Walk around like a woman is. She won't speak less of something.
That's record 2. A big key in mixing, by the way, is to make sure that both records aren't talking, or there's not too much going on, because then it becomes too busy. You want to make a smooth transition from record A to record B. This is how to mix the wrong way.
Hot summer's back when you sip your brew and never touch your clock. This is for eyes that cry like yours and learn to smile again. This is for you and your crew, the ones that's true will always love you, no matter what you do. It's the light, the light, the light, the light, the light. It's the light, the light.
See how I was too busy there? Didn't sound right, didn't feel right. For a second there, the beat was going, and you're like, okay, this works. But ultimately, when the two came together, it was bad. So this would be the correct way to mix from this record to this record. Is just get in the record, back it up a bit, find the chorus, find when it breaks, and bring the next one in. So. So basically you get the idea. You bring this one out and this one in at the right time. Before you know it, it sounds like you don't know where one stops and one starts. That's the key. But the way it works is I knew where I was in the song on both songs. Intro of this song, outro of that song. This has a 8-bar drum break of no bass line, so when the drum comes in, you're like, hey, this works, it's going, it sounds good. Can't really tell, and before you know it, you're out of the other one into another one, and it's done smooth. Here's another thing that I like to do. This is the key in mixing. Sometimes, if it's a new record and you don't really know it too well, they give you an option here. You got radio version and instrumental. Now the reason the instrumental is there is for a couple reasons. You can mix something over top of that, or if you're coming out of this record, record A, into record B, and you want it to be even more smooth, where it doesn't go from vocal to vocal, maybe you want to put a music bed where you can talk to the crowd or something, then you go into the instrumental and it just works easier. And then I'm going to take this same record, which is over here, put it down on this, and go from instrumental to vocal. Say I'm in front of a crowd and I'm rocking the crowd. It goes like this. Right? So you're... Here's my mic. What's up, everybody? How y'all feeling? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Talk. Say ho, ho, whatever. here, blah, 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 blah. Alright, everyone throw your hands in the air and scream for me one time. Scream! Ah! Then you're into the vocal right now.
Lady don't take no shit, insist on respect the system.
So basically what I did is I went from this record into the next record, but I used 2 records of the next record to extend the break, so to speak, to extend the time that I wanted to go from vocal 1 to vocal 2. Blending. Taking 2 records that wouldn't normally fit and fit them together to where the crowd would not even know that you did it. Christina Aguilera and AC/DC, The Love Boat and Def Jeff, Pat Benatar on the Far Side. You gotta be a chef. You gotta be able to cook up those mixes. 2 things that would have never actually fit together, but for some odd reason they do, and they fit like a glove. I think blends are really fun because if you know this record and you've always heard it the original way that you've always heard it, then to hear someone remix it live makes you go, wait a second, I know this song, but that's not the way this song's supposed to go. He's doing something else. So it kind of makes you, it puts your own spin on what you're doing because it shows that you actually are up there remixing or doing things on the fly. On this record, you've got the beat. On this record, you have the vocals.
No matter what you do, it's a life.
Right? Now here is the acapella.
They cry like yours and learn to smile again.
So normally I'd start out with this record here on the instrumental. And what I would do is I'm going to bring in the vocal and ride the vocal over top of this beat to make it sound like these 2 songs are basically supposed to be one song. So here goes.
This is for. This is for. This is for. This is for warm days that drift away while the sun sets and the ghettos play. Long nights on a hot summer's block where you sip your brew and never touch your clock. This is for eyes that cry like yours and learn to smile again. Rise above the pain. This is for you and your crew, the ones that's true will always love you, no matter what you do. The life, the life, the life, the life, it's the life, the life, the life, it's the life, it's the life, the life, the life, my life, it's your life, my life.
It's more than just mixing 2 songs, you're actually blending the 2 songs while you're mixing them, so people like to call those blends. Now the way that we're putting these 2 songs together is through the mixer. Channel 1 is this record, so we're looking at
The life, it's the life, the life.
this side is record 2. Now I use this, the fader, to go back and forth between record 1 and record 2. So that's what it is. I'm basically taking the 2 records and I'm bringing them together via 2 faders and a crossfader. Break. The most important part of the song in hip-hop. Bambaataa touched on it a little bit in the film, but it's the point of the record where it gets the funkiest, it gets the illest, and it makes people want to move the most, or it's the most catchy. Usually it's when the bass line drops out and the keys drop out and the vocals drop out, and it's just the drummer drumming. This is the break right here. It's this guy right here where my fingernail is hitting. It's kind of the difference between this and this. It's that little tiny mark in there. Sometimes the break will only be like 4 bars, and it comes and it goes so fast that you're like, man, that was really good, but it didn't. I didn't get to hear long enough. I didn't get to hear it go long enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually extend the break, which is what DJs would do for a couple different reasons. One, it would be for the dancers, for the b-boys to be dancing. You'd extend the break so they could stay on this 4 bars, but keep looping it for, who knows, for a minute, minute and a half, where they're just dancing to the same break. And 2, what would happen is MCs would get up, and while that break was going, since there was nothing to fill it as far as vocals go, they'd get up and they'd start rhyming. They start talking to the crowd. Oh yeah, that's, DJ Z-Trip on the break. He's killing it, da-da-da. Hey yo, rock that, or whatever, talking to the crowd. And it's always over the break, because that's when you could do it. Again, it's not over the lead guitar and the keys and the guys singing. If you're talking over that, then it's too busy and you're kind of shitting on the song. On the break, it opens up for anybody to do anything. An MC to get on, people to dance, the DJ to get loose and rock doubles. Hip hop equals the break. That's it. So here's the song. So for me, I like that. If I could, I would have that break go on for a day and a half. So what I do is I take two of the same record and I try to extend that break. So I'm going to make this break go on for a little while, and I'm going to add my flavor to it. As you'll see, I'll cut it up a couple times and mess with it a bit to where it's still the break, but there's still some flavor in it, adding some rhythm to it. That's basically it, extending the break. What I like to do is I like to mark each record at the instant beat, or the right where I want it to be at 12 o'clock. Because every record is going to go round and round, and I refer to 12 o'clock as straight up and down on the turntable. For instance, if you look down here, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Goes like that. Anything here is going to be nothing. It's always going to hit at 12 o'clock. It's always going to hit right there. I could go to the bathroom, go get something to eat, come back, and it's still going to hit right at 12 o'clock. I like to do that on both records, knowing that you can do things like this. Some people like to do this, where you take a piece of sticky tape or a label of some sort, and you put it right up close to where the break's going to hit. So we'll back this up and I'll show you how we mark a record. Alright, here comes the break. One more time, the break. It's on the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the break. So, in knowing that the needle is hitting right on the break, this is where it's at. I'll do this audibly so you can kind of hear what I'm doing. There's the 1. I take this piece of tape and I put it in right up close to where it's at. So, if I always want to just go to the break of this record, I'll put the needle right here, and by default, this piece of tape is going to knock the needle over to the break. So that way, every time I want to nail this break, I nail it on the 1. This is what you'd do if you didn't have it. You put in your headphones, this is what you're hearing. That's not the brake. Shit, where's the brake? Oh, there it is. Oh, wait, no. Oh, there it is, finally. See how long that took me to do that? As opposed to, I could walk right in the room, go, oh, I see where you got the brake on the record. Let's see. And it's right there. Scratching. You've seen it, you heard about it. Let's discuss it. Technically, any time's a good time to scratch. But in context of your set, you can't really scratch for an hour. I mean, you can, but you know, the crowd, it might wear on them. If they're not fully understanding what's going on, it might be a little difficult. And again, you're trying to rock a party, so you're just trying to add little flavors. So that's basically it. A lot of it is in the fader as far as on and off, but most of it is in just how you manipulate the record. There's all these different scratches that they've got names for: the crab, the flare, transforming. There's all different styles. But everyone agrees that you need to get in and just ride the rhythm of the beat, which is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people get up there and they get very technical and they just go and they just go through drills, as opposed to creating some sort of rhythm or just getting into it and vibing with it. Not trying to be so technical, but just trying to get in and play with the rhythm of it, almost like a drummer. Ba 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 ba, and then the phone rings. This is really key. Basically, I've got these two records that you might recognize because it was the ending of the movie. So what I'd like to do is show you how these two records mix together. And this is really a difficult mix because both of these records individually start at a slower BPM and move all the way up the scale and go faster. But they do it at different intervals. So even if you were to start them at the same time and mix them together, the BPMs are going all over the place. Starts out like this. Real slow. Then before you know it, it gets up here. And then faster. And then before you know it, you're... Right? This is the other record. So again, start speeding up. And faster. At one point, one of the records breaks so fast that there's no possible way the other record could keep up. So that's when I come in and I scratch my way out of it. Check this out.
Now it's time for our wrap-up. Let's give it everything we've got. Ready? Begin.
And there you have it. The end of Scratch.